Okay, guys, as promised, here's my second story for the day, and I'm hoping you find this one as funny as I do. Again, this takes place about 2003, 2004, and we were in our early 20s, and my wife and I were expecting our first child. We were both working crazy long hours and had really put aside any relationships or friendships that we had had at the time, being that we were trying to get everything prepared, and any tolerance I had to staying awake for long hours or drinking any alcohol had gone completely out the window. Now, on this particular weekend, I had made plans with my best friend, a guy who had been my best man at my wedding and who I had worked with for years and who I used to see quite frequently. I made plans with Trevor, his name is, to go out for a night on the town. And, I discussed with my wife, and she wasn't interested in going because she was pregnant and so forth. So I said, would you mind tomorrow, seeing that it's Saturday morning, would you mind if we slept in tomorrow? So that when I go out tomorrow night with the boys, I'm not going to look like a complete amateur and tap out, before the night even begins. And she's like, yeah, sure, no problem. I'm like, are you sure? Are you good with that? She's like, oh yeah, no, that's fine, no worries. Don't want to look like an amateur. Now, if I was a intuitive person and if I was really receptive, I might have picked up on her sarcasm. But being the nice guy that I am and believing that what my wife says to be true, I took it for what she said, and boy was I ever wrong. So the next morning, at about 6 o'clock in the morning, I hear the vacuum fire up, and my lovely pregnant wife decides that she's going to vacuum the whole house 6:30 in the morning, and including the master bedroom. And I'm a wise enough cat not to know to know better than to start a fight with a lady who's pregnant and who's now clearly disgruntled at the fact that I'd asked to sleep in. And the jig's up. I get it. She's pissed. So I apologize. I'm sorry, hon. I didn't mean to to sleep in, and I didn't realize you wanted the vacuum in the bedroom, and I apologize. And I'm the bigger man. So I go to work that day, and that later that night I go and I pick up Trevor. He's my best man. We're gonna go out, and I'm telling him the story as we're on our way to the club, and he's laughing his ass off. He thinks that's hilarious. And if you knew my wife, you would know that this is just totally her. This is just that's what she would do. So we ended up going to the club that I work at. Now, as I said to you earlier, we're working like crazy. I was working two jobs. I was a full-time manager with Walmart stores, and I was also a bouncer or a doorman at a really popular nightclub in the city we lived in. And that night in particular, like I said, I booked the time off work, and we went to that bar that I work for. Now, this is a great idea if you want to go out and get obliterated, because you know that anybody who works there is going to set you up, and any of your regulars that are there are going to set you up, and you're probably not going to pay for a drink all night. And that's a great thing, but my plan was to go out and have a few drinks that evening, spend some time with my friends, catch up on old acquaintances and so forth, and cut it off early enough that I could stay to the end of the night and be within a reasonable level of soberness, if you want to call it, the drive home. Well, that plan went out the window, and as the night went on, as the drinks kept coming and coming and coming, not only did any chance of me driving home go out the window, but the story of my wife vacuuming at 6 o'clock in the morning had gotten funnier and funnier and funnier to both me and my best man, my buddy Trevor. What I should also tell you is earlier that day I had purchased a video camera for the purposes of documenting the birth of our first child and the next chapter of our life and blah, 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 blah. So in our greatness and throughout the evening of getting inebriated, we come up with this plan that we're going to go home and we're going to vacuum the living room, because who knows when the next time we're going to have an opportunity to vacuum the living room. And you know what? If we don't vacuum it tonight, gosh, it could be forever. So, we get just blitzed, and at the end of the night, it's obvious I'm not driving home. So I paid one of the other bouncers $20 to drive us home in my car so he could take a cab back and go home for the night with his own car. And that way I could get the vehicle home. I wouldn't be putting my life or anyone else's life at risk, and the vehicle would be there for my wife in the morning. So he's cool with that, and we're on our way home, and and Trevor and I start hashing this great plan about how we're going to sneak in the house. We're going to be really quiet, and we're not going to bump into shit. And I'm going to get the video camera, and Trevor, you go get the vacuum. great plan, right? Well, Trevor doesn't have a domestic bone in his body. Trevor's this 6'2", strapping, half Newfie, half Jamaican guy who hasn't lived. I don't know if he's even seen a vacuum before, but nonetheless, he gives it his best. He's got it plugged in, and the two of us are standing there, and I got the video camera, and I'm laughing, I'm junking around, and the camera's all over the place, and Trevor's over there, and he's just killing himself, and we're trying to laugh under our breath, and we sound like a bunch of 7-year-olds. But anyway, long story short, Trevor finally gets the vacuum going. He's vacuuming, he's doing this, he's lifting up tables, and we're laughing ourselves into tears almost. And what you can't hear over the sound of the vacuum is my wife yelling down the stairs at us, "You idiots, you think you're effing funny? Have fun sleeping on the effing couch tonight, a-hole." And you know what? I was so drunk, I didn't even care. I heard what she said, but I wasn't asleep on the couch. I fell into bed right next to her like a drunken idiot, and she wasn't having that. She got up and left. Now, at that point, I was so drunk and so tired, I just assumed she went to the washroom. What I didn't realize until the next morning was that she actually went and slept on the couch, and now I feel horrible about that, hindsight being 20/20, but I had no idea, and if I had known, I wouldn't have let her do it. I would have gone to the couch. But anyway, next morning, again at 6:30 in the morning, do you see the trend here? She hops back into bed, and she smokes me as hard as she can in the gut. I mean, I can't breathe. I'm coughing. I'm like, "What's wrong with you? Are you out of your mind?" She's like, "You idiot." I'm like, "It was a joke." She's like, "I don't care about that. You drove home drunk." I'm like, no. Did I? No, huh? No. I remember. I paid Derek. I gave him $20 to drive us home in our car, and he took the cab back and drove his own car home. And she's like, "Well, yeah, fine." She says, "Well, where is he?" I'm like, "Who?" She's like, "Trevor." I'm like, "Well, he's sleeping in the guest room." She's like, "Well, how long is he going to be here?" I'm like, "I don't know." She's like, "I want to go to IKEA." You know, because that's what girls do on the weekends. They get up at 6:30 in the morning, smack their husbands in the gut, and tell them to take them to IKEA. Anyway, so I'm like, "I don't know. He's in the guest room." I said, "Well, let him sleep for a little while." She's like, "No, I want to go." I'm like, "Well," getting a little devilish grin here. I'm like, "Did you vacuum the guest room yesterday?" And she's like, "Do you think we should?" I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah." So let me get the video camera. So we grab the video camera again, and she literally kicks the door down with the vacuum fired up. And she's in there vacuuming, and the guy just pulls the cover over his head. And he's way drunker than I was last night. Or that night, but he pulls the cover over his head. He's like, "Oh my god, you guys are bloody nuts. Seriously? Can you vacuum somewhere else? Oh my god. And that's the end of the story. So it's a lot funnier if you were there, and if you ever watch the video, you can't help but laugh because it's just the stupidest thing. You got two grown idiots acting like 7-year-olds trying to figure out how to fire up a vacuum while one guy's videotaping it. But anyway, so there you go. There's my dumbass story. That's the number 2 dumbass story for today. And I promise, guys, I'm going to try to come to the table with a little bit more entertaining stuff to talk about for the next couple of vlogs. In the meantime, if you loved either one of these stories, please write a comment, do a video response, tell me about a funny story you've done, subscribe, do whatever, and I look forward to entertaining you again tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. Take care, guys. Have a great night. Bye-bye.